The following podcast is brought to you by patreon.com/WrestleMediaCA. Like what you hear? Want more of it ad-free, uncensored, and earlier? Sign up today at patreon.com/WrestleMediaCA and start getting more for as little as $2 a month.
Welcome to We Have Till 5, part of WrestleMedia, where everything is wrestling and wrestling is everything. I, of course, am your host, Andrew Kent. With me, as always, is the wrestling Iron Man himself, Cole Miller. How's it going, Cole? You got your brain screwed on tight after about 15 to 20 hours of wrestling live all weekend?
Hi, Andrew.
How's it going, man?
I haven't watched wrestling since Sunday.
Smart
I'm
man.
on a break.
Smart man. Yeah, you got to take a break.
We've decided it's better for both of us.
Wait, who's we? You and me?
No, me and wrestling.
Oh, okay, sorry. So you saw Progress Wrestling Thursday night.
Yep.
You saw Smash Wrestling Friday night. We all went to TakeOver on Saturday, and then I scored us free tickets to SummerSlam in the 102 section, row G, freaking a stone's throw from the ring on Sunday at SummerSlam, and you went to all of those events back to back to back to back.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, I can't remember most of it, but like... That's
bad news when we're talking about today's topic.
No, I can remember everything but people's names.
Okay.
There are just so many new wrestlers who I'd never really seen before, and it's like everything's convoluted a little bit.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It was a great weekend, though.
Well, that's great, man. I'm glad
I
you
would
had
do it
fun.
again in 12 months.
Absolutely.
Not any sooner than that, though.
Well, who knows when a big event like this is going to come back to Toronto. So good on you for taking advantage of it. Good on you for living the city life, all the dream of all these. We're on this network with a bunch of working men or working dads, and you got to kind of live the wrestling dream down there in the city for the weekend. So good on you.
Well, Adam and Mike did too.
Well, yeah, but they were working at two of those events.
But working a wrestling event is like stand at a table for a bit and then watch the show.
Yeah, but it's hard, man. It's hard. It's taxing. It sounds silly, I know, but it is. My day at the Chinlock 5 wrestling convention, the Legends convention, man, it was such a long day. But it was amazing, and I'm sure the guys had time to meet everybody, and they had fun meeting everybody. Thank you to any new subscriber, any new listener to the show today that came from SummerSlam weekend and the hard work that Mike Walsh and Adam Conta put into it at the summit and also at the Never Say Never was at the event?
Yes.
Thank you to any listener that's come from those events. Hopefully you've been to our website. Hopefully you've been to WrestleMedia.ca and you checked out the blog posts and you checked out the live events and you checked out the other podcasts and read some bios and read some blogs and definitely signed up for our newsletter, I hope. And hopefully you've headed right on over to patreon.com/WrestleMediaCA so that you could be part of the dream, that you could be part of the wrestling revolution. You can give some ducats into our bucket so that we can do this 7 days a week, 8 days a week, 10 days a week. You know what I'm saying. We just want to do this all the time. All we want to do is talk wrestling. We want to go to SummerSlam and TakeOver and WrestleMania, and we want to go to some dumb house show in Des Moines, Idaho. I don't care. We just want to do this for real. Help us to support this dream and make it a reality over at patreon.com/WrestleMediaCA. Cole, you've taken about a week off. You have rested your brain, and we've come up with a list for today. I didn't want you to have to watch any more wrestling, so I suggested to you that this week what we should do is sort of your top 5 wrestling-related items from the weekend. Where did you kind of go with this list? What'd you end up landing on? Talk to us about what we're going to be doing today on We Have Till 5.
So before I start, you said Des Moines, Idaho, so I just looked up if there was wrestling in Des Moines, Idaho, and there is. So we can go to that. Sorry, my mind is not stable.
We're doing a podcast, Cole.
I know. 3X Wrestling. Anyways. Yeah, we're going to be talking... Oh, dear.
Oh my gosh, Cole, you're broken. You're absolutely, you're truly and completely broken. We're never gonna get you back to the way you were before.
Maybe that's a good thing.
I'm proud of you. That is probably the best. Where did you go with this list, Cole?
So this list is the top 5 matches / moments of the WWE weekend. So this is between the show, the Takeover, and SummerSlam. Some of these are matches. Other of these are people who were in the matches. Yeah. But moments. Things that got me excited.
Man. Things about the weekend that got you a little
that
excited.
Made
that
me
you were
pop.
There. Woo! Cole's top 5 pops of the weekend. Here we go, kiddo. Start us off with number 5.
Number 5, and I can promise you this will be on nobody else's list. Do you want to take a guess at what this one is, Andrew?
I'm trying to rack my brain.
I popped hard for this one.
No,
it was Sunday night.
I'm gonna remember when
It was during the pre-show.
Oh my gosh. Are you serious? You're gonna put Oney Lorcan on this list?
Yes, I am.
On a show that surprised the entire Scotiabank Arena with the return of Edge and a weekend that had a tremendous takeover show and the fact that we had basically front row seats to SummerSlam, you're going to put Oney freaking Lorcan on this list.
What can I say? I'm an Oney Lorcan guy.
Okay, explain how this made the list in a weekend chocked full of unbelievable wrestling moments. How did this squeak on your list?
So, as you know, I've been an Oney Lorcan fan for a while.
The match ended in a dumb DQ and went nowhere, dude. Like, okay, sorry, continue. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've been a fan of his since I started wrestling. Because he was a jobber back then.
I don't know. Who cares about Oney Lorcan?
I care about Oney Lorcan. I do. I do. Somebody has to.
I'm kidding.
It's me and probably his mother. But I probably care more.
I'm pretty sure I only heard 2 people clapping when he made it to the ring. I wonder if Oney Lorcan's mom showed up to the match.
Yeah, there was, and the people beside us definitely made fun of me for that.
The rest of the people were too busy going, woo! And
Adam Cole, baby! Oh, I was so done with that by the end.
I was so finished with that as we're walking out of SummerSlam and everybody's still doing it. And although
definitely just maxed
there was
up
a
the
really
mic.
sweet. There was a really sweet moment.
Yes.
There was a really sweet moment when we were walking up. Where would we have been? We were starting to walk up. University?
Yeah, we
or something?
just turned on to University.
We had just turned on to University, and we're kind of out of the crowd at this moment, and just this little kid is like walking with his dad, and maybe his other dad, and maybe his uncle. I don't know, but he's walking with the 2 adult men. And he goes, there's like nobody around, and this little guy, I mean, he must have been like between 8 and 10, like just a young boy, and he goes, Adam Cole! And there's nobody around, so finally you and I both just go, baby! And he was so excited that he was happy to give him that moment.
Yeah, that was a good moment, but not as good as Oney Lorcan. I don't care if nobody else cares about him. I was excited when he started winning matches in 2016. I was excited when he started tag teaming with Danny Burch last year. And I'm excited now that he's part of 205 Live. Because he's just some random guy. And his Twitter is the best. Have you seen any of his tweets?
Didn't you just give me crap for being on Twitter?
Yeah. I look at Twitter. I just don't have an account.
Oh my gosh. Okay, you're such a... So Oney Lorcan made the list in an average match. Okay.
No,
is there anything else
it
you
doesn't
wanna
have to do with the match. It was just something exciting for me because I like him and he's a weirdo. And probably nothing will come for this. And I don't care. It was also
you got to
a week of like so many matches that it was just like when I got to pop for something so stupid like this, I did it. And no shame. None at all.
Awesome, dude. Well, okay. All right, hit us with number 4.
Number 4 is a match that you weren't too hyped over, actually. It's the AJ Styles versus Ricochet match for the U.S. title.
I didn't say it wasn't like it. Just they left a lot on the table. They left a lot on the table. That's it.
It was exciting to see these two guys. And it's one of those things where it's like a mediocre match for them is a good match for a lot of other people.
Absolutely.
So, like, knowing that, it was a good match to watch. It was just like, I know they can do better. You know they can do better.
It just felt stunted, and then Ricochet gave up, he jobbed clean. I just don't know what it accomplished. Anyways, it wasn't even that competitive of a match.
But we got to
I don't
that
know.
Styles clash.
Oh, no, the finish was unbelievable.
That I was scared for him at that moment. I was excited. I like both of these guys, and I was excited to see them, and I thought they put on a good match, a better than average match. Even if it's not their best, it was still entertaining.
But it's SummerSlam,
Yep.
man. I don't know. I
still think it was one of the
fun.
better matches of the night. From a technical perspective, from a wrestling perspective, not storyline, not pops, not anything else. I think it was one of, if not the...
It was a night that didn't have a ton of solid wrestling on it, so you're right.
No, yeah.
What about the match kind of got you excited?
I was just seeing these two guys go at it. Seeing the high-flying style of Ricochet is always entertaining. Seeing some of the more technical side of AJ Styles, I thought they told a compelling story. It was like within the first 30 seconds of the match, AJ Styles started going for the knee. And
yeah,
from that point, you thought it was going to end with the submission, but it didn't. But it like they told that sort of technical story, which I thought was really good. There were some really cool pops with the Styles clash from the rope. I mean, that was just the finish, but there were some other
sure
good moments.
No, it was certainly a well worked match for sure. I don't know. There was something about it that was just missing. It
didn't have a third act.
It did not have a third act. You're totally right. You're totally right. I don't
It
need to see him
ended
do a bunch
during
of
the
flippy
build,
dippies.
not as a denouement.
Yeah. And in that moment, it was like, but it also the wrong guy went over if that's how you're going to book the match.
I don't know.
Like, I don't know. Like, what happens to Ricochet? He lost clean. There was no interference. There was no garbage. He lost. Why? Like, so the feud is over, and Ricochet has to go back to the drawing board. Like what claim does he have to a rematch?
I don't know, but in an era where interference finishes most matches, I wasn't upset at a clean win.
I'm not upset at a clean win. I don't, storyline wise, all I've heard everybody complain about when it comes to wrestling these days is that it doesn't, who does that benefit? What does it do? I don't see the benefit of how they closed out that match. I don't see who won. AJ did. But Ricochet is just like, now he's just gone?
Yeah, moving on to something else. They go with the storyline of he lost. That can be compelling sometimes. That was compelling with Roderick Strong for a while.
And maybe they will do that, but yeah, I don't know. If you're going to have that kind of match and leave stuff on the table, it only makes sense to me because you're building to another match like AJ and Nakamura did. They went on to have some way better matches than they had at WrestleMania that year.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't.
Anyways, it's just a thought.
It'll be interesting to see if it goes anywhere or not. I have no idea. But as a standalone moment, I thought it was a pretty good one.
Sure.
Hey, this is a commercial for patreon.com/WrestleMediaCA, where you can get early access to episodes of your favorite WrestleMedia shows, get full uncut and uncensored versions of your favorite shows, and more. Don't want to hear this commercial on your podcast anymore? Sign up at our main event tier and get these episodes ad-free. Want to hear your own commercial here instead of ours? We've got tiers for that too. Visit patreon.com/WrestleMediaCA and join the WrestleMedia revolution today.
Awesome. Okay, perfect. Moving right along. What do we got for number 3?
So for number 3, we're going to go into Saturday night. We're going into a takeover. And this is the 3 Stages of Hell match.
Whoa. It wasn't a 3 Stages of Hell match. It was a 2 out of 3 falls match, man. Come on.
Everybody was calling it that. It's not that. You called it that several times, but
I'm kidding. Of course I am. No, it was a very good match. Very good match, man. I personally felt like it jumped the shark in the third act a little bit, but overall, you're absolutely right. Tell us what did it for you in that match?
I thought it showed a lot of sides of wrestling, which I really like. So the first fall was really technical, and both Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano are fantastic technical wrestlers. So it was good. It was great that they got to showcase that, and it wasn't all hype and all gimmick and all of this stuff. They had a solid 20-minute technical wrestling match.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. One of the mistakes that 2 out of 3 falls matches make is like they give the first fall 7 minutes and the second fall 8 minutes, and then the third fall 25 minutes, and it's like, why didn't you just have a wrestling match? Why didn't you just have a match that, why even pretend like you're going to do this? So yeah, they went almost an hour. So they definitely used the full potential of the stipulation. But what would you say to my personal criticism? And I've heard it other places as well that, I mean, a top rope avalanche Canadian destroyer, how does that not finish a match? How do they not, they jumped the shark in the final act, and for me, it was the weakest of all their main events that these guys had. And that, I know that's saying something. It doesn't mean by any means there was a crappy match, but you don't think they jumped the shark a little bit?
Yeah, I don't know. Sure, it didn't have the same. I mean, the ending of Gargano matches always upset me a little bit. Like, so I don't really... I don't expect any, like, move that should finish to actually move because it's Gargano. Like, he's the kind of person who would kick out of 5 tombstones. Like, nobody else does that.
You're not wrong.
I know, yeah. So, like, yes, a Canadian Destroyer, like, should end a match, but because it's Gargano, it doesn't matter. And it's just one of those things where I see a match with him, I just kind of have to accept that. So I think going into the final act, the final fall, it was also fun to see a completely over the top thing. The
right.
No escape cage with all of the weapons. Because overall, the weekend, like, there weren't a lot of things like that. There weren't a lot of high pops, of high spots, of gimmicky things. Sure. So it was cool to see something, and it just something that separated it from everything else that happened that weekend. So it was cool to see. I thought they did it well. It was cool looking back on it, how Gargano, well, technically Adam Cole only won one fall.
Yep. I was thinking about that too. That's an interesting mechanic.
Yeah, Gargano gave up the first one to hit him with a chair, which was that was a dumb move. Gonna say it. He took the second fall, and then Adam Cole only won because after they went off of the top of the cage, he managed to get his arm across Gargano. So it was an interesting storyline in that way, where it's like he won, but did he really?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Storytelling wise, it was tremendous. I'd like to see I like a little bit more reality in my wrestling. That's all I gotta say about that.
Yeah, and if you want that, then look elsewhere.
Yeah, I guess. Like to the triple threat.
Yeah.
Anyways, I thought the triple threat was the best match of the night, followed closely, I think, by Io Shirai and Candice LeRae. But I'm probably getting ahead of myself.
Yeah,
here.
well, speaking of the triple threat,
oh, is that your number 2?
Speaking of the triple threat, that is number 2.
Ah, tremendous.
Yeah, I think that was the best match of the night, best match of the weekend. It had 3 extremely talented people, great technical wrestling, great storytelling, good spots, just long enough, not boring, kept you interested, all of the things. I thought it was a great match.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I like how balanced it was. I like how competitive it was. It felt very close to me as some of the great triple threats out there, and it really will. I am going to do a best triple threat matches at some point, because there's a bunch that jump out to me now as just being unbelievable. Examples where it's not just 2 guys wrestle and then one guy gets hurt so that the 2 other guys can wrestle for a little while. They all sort of work as a team, as a unit, to create one great story. Velveteen Dream, Roderick Strong, and Pete Dunne did a great job splitting the time well and splitting the ring well and making it actually a cohesive story without having to be too gimmicky, without having to be too spotty. I thought the finish was tremendous. Put everybody over.
Yeah. And it sets stuff up
except for maybe Pete Dunne, but it's his first night in the company, so it's okay.
But I think it did put him over because he would have won it at that one point if not for the interference of Velveteen Dream.
Right that.
Like, that was a ref interference, was it not? I'm trying to remember the exact details.
Yeah. He the ref was going to count 3, and Velveteen Dream
pulled him out.
Grabbed the referee's hand.
Yeah. And that sets up I think that will be a really interesting feud if they go that way. the Bruiserweight versus the Dream. I think that would be two talented people in different ways.
Absolutely.
I think you could you could do a lot of cool stuff with that. I don't know what you do with Roderick Strong out of this, though.
Well, you know what? What I would like to see them do, truthfully, is I think all three of them won the match at one point. I think the way to do it is to just rematch the whole thing. Roderick Strong won the match, but Velveteen... Like, it was Roderick Strong's finisher that finished the match.
Yeah.
Like, Velveteen Dream came off the top, hit Roddy, and then he didn't do anything else to Pete Dunne. He just pinned him for the 1, 2, 3. So each man, at one point, theoretically, had the match won. Like, actually won. Not just, as if he kicked out of that Canadian Destroyer. Not like Johnny Gargano thought I had that finish. No, how did he kick out of that? Like, actually, conceivably, in storyline, Roderick Strong's finisher finished the match. Pete Dunne would have won if not for Velveteen Dream. Velveteen Dream, you can't really say got lucky, but he was lucky to leave the match with the belt because Roddy and Pete Dunne won the match first. Yep. So, to me, you just rematch the whole thing.
Yeah, or you do a Roddy versus Dunne thing to see who actually gets the chance.
But I think I think the way that they built that match warrants a straight up rematch. I don't think there's any one man who... I don't think Velveteen Dream should just be the one who now gets to... Oh, well, whichever one of you gets to face me, gets to face me. I think they both earn the shot, and I think they just should rematch it. That's what I would... I'm kind of hoping that that's what they do at the next TakeOver.
Yeah, can you... Have they done triple threat rematches?
Like, do you mean ever?
Well,
or
like
in
can
NXT?
Can you think of a group of three that did 2 triple threats?
Yeah, so, I think at back-to-back pay-per-views in 2004, I guess it would have to be, WrestleMania 20, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Chris Benoit had a triple threat match, an absolute classic, and they followed that up the next month, I believe, at Backlash, with a rematch. That was almost as good as the first one, but not quite.
Yeah, I was just thinking, is it harder in a triple threat to offer something new, but still story-wise?
I think it's easier, to be honest with you, because I think there's so many more variations. There's a whole extra variable of another person. So I would like to see them just rematch the whole match. I think the way that they sort of built it, the way that the match was made, to me, it makes sense to do it that way. But we'll see what they end up doing with it.
Yeah. I know we both think that Roderick should have won that match, but that's a whole other thing.
Well, I mean, I personally think that, Undisputed Era should have walked away with all of the gold, but maybe that's just something that they're the WWE just knows we expect to happen, so they're either going to make us wait for it or they're just not going to do it. The WWE's weird like that.
But the problem with NXT is that you can't make people wait too long, or else then people get called up. Like it's.
Well, no, and that's what I mean. I don't think they're going to do it.
Yeah.
At this point, I don't think they're going to do it. If they were going to do it, it would have been TakeOver Toronto. That would have been the natural time to do it. And to me, it's clear that they're just choosing not to do that.
Yeah, which is unfortunate, but we'll see. Yeah, but that was a good match. That was the best match of the entire weekend.
Which means I'm pretty sure anybody and everybody has sort of seen where this is going. With number 1, so why don't you just get there for me, Cole? Talk to me about it.
Let him in, Andrew.
Yeah,
that has to be the top moment of the entire weekend, and anybody who says differently is wrong.
Well, okay, now don't be.
I will.
Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy.
No,
Because Seth Rollins won the Universal title, and relinquished it from Brock Lesnar's hands and became the Beast Slayer once again. Edge returned, and that might be some people's really absolute favorite part of the whole weekend. Trish Stratus got to come back and have her farewell. So don't get on your high horse, man. Get off that horse there, bud. No, this was tremendous. I actually went back already and I watched it on TV. I wanted to see how it came across. I showed my wife. She's a big horror movie fan, so I was like, you gotta see this. You gotta see this. So it was very cool. His new entrance music is unbelievable. The lantern is one of the most chilling things I've ever seen. I can't believe they can get away with it on TV 14, to be completely honest with you. What sort of struck you about it?
Well, it's been something that's people have been waiting for months. Because they started with the Firefly Funhouse like 3-4 months ago.
I bet you everyone who was so mad, because people were mad about the Firefly Funhouse.
Yeah, when it first debuted.
People were so mad. How dare you bury Bray like this? This is embarrassing. What a bad gimmick. As if you do this, oh, they're just killing off Bray. Oh, this is embarrassing. I bet you they all feel like total dolts now.
Oh yeah.
I'm not hearing enough ridicule to those people who are like, this is garbage, Vince needs to get a lobotomy, and don't get me wrong, as you heard last week, guys, I'm not the world's biggest Vince McMahon fan. I cannot stand him, and it's just worse every single day that I have to listen to the diatribes that come out of his mouth. But this, The Fiend, honestly, I've heard a couple other podcasters kind of pitch this, and I can't say that they're wrong. I think The Fiend needs to be WWE champion, ASAP. I think he needs to be the one to take out Kofi. I think if they play their cards right, they have I think just the most compelling wrestler in maybe a decade.
Yep.
And just an absolute monster heel.
And face at the same time.
Yeah, honestly, I hope they play that up a little bit more. I was talking to Riley, my wife. You know what? I think they gained sort of this inspiration from M. Night Shyamalan's Split. This sort of listen, guys, the Fiend is coming for you. You don't have to like it. I don't really even like it, but the Fiend, he's coming for you. Yeah, did you see Split?
Yeah, I can see that.
Do you kind of see where I'm going? I think that might have been where they got sort of some inspiration for this character, which, I don't know, pretty cool.
Yeah, it was not something that I expected, even from the beginning of the Funhouse, because I was never quite, what are they doing? I thought it was fun. I thought they were doing something interesting, but I also didn't see it going this way.
No, neither did I.
I don't think anybody, even when they semi-debuted The Fiend, showed him for the first time, it was like, oh, that's creepy. Wonder what they're going to do with that.
See, I expected them to eventually go this direction, but I thought he was going to play like this nicey nice Mr. Rogers type character for a while first.
Yeah.
With little cracks here and there. I didn't expect them to go full tilt for it right off the hop. So this is...
Do you think they'll have Bray actually be in any matches?
I at this point, man, I don't know, and it's one of the few times that I can say that that's honestly a very good thing. I'm glad not to know, and I just hope that...
Well, they kept him off of TV this week because they're trying to elevate the mystery of it. They're really actually trying to make it so you don't know when he's going to show up next.
Well, I hope so.
You don't know what's going to happen. It's great.
I just hope that continues, because if all of a sudden it becomes like a ratings thing where it's like, well, if we put the Fiend on TV, then we'll get a ratings spike because we're getting the worst ratings since 1995, and this is, like, I'm nervous about it because it has the potential to be so great.
Yeah.
And WWE has not hit that territory since probably, I don't know, 2011 with the CM Punk stuff.
Yep.
Like, because it could be argued, and just to sort of devil's advocate my own point, like, it could be argued that what the WWE did with Kofi Kingston this past WrestleMania could sort of fall in that category.
But there hasn't been any follow-up.
I think there's no. Well, that's not true. They put Kofi over pretty dang hard.
No,
man,
but there hasn't
ever
been,
since winning that title.
In terms of drama and pop and things that are captivating in terms of storyline, I don't think there has been enough follow-up to elevate it to the position of CM Punk, or things that will be remembered and looked back at. Like, people will talk about it.
Yeah, you might be right about that.
Because people have said that Kofi's run has been fairly lackluster.
But I don't see the where they. Anyways, this isn't about Kofi Kingston. We'll fight. We'll talk about that. On a
anyway,
different
Toronto
episode,
didn't like him. That's
point.
all I know. And
Toronto didn't like who?
Kofi.
Oh, they didn't boo him that bad.
Yes, they did.
Toronto's just, honestly, they didn't boo him any worse than anybody else. Like, what do you mean? They booed Seth Rollins, too, and then they went crazy.
Yeah, but Seth Rollins has been getting that for a while. Ever since his online spat.
Toronto fans, honestly, are the most frustrating people in the whole world. Seth Rollins must have been standing in the middle of the ring, just so confused, because as he's walking to the ring, he's just being showered with boos. And when he wins the match, the crowd goes nuts, and then, like, just is right in his corner. And I don't think, because it could be argued that, like, well, Seth Rollins did his job really well, and he made a bunch of fans who hated him at the start, they made him like him by the end. What a great professional wrestler. This is awesome. But maybe it's just because I'm so cynical towards, like, Toronto fans and just in general. Like, it just sounds like they just never know what they're talking about. They just try to be trendy with whatever they're doing. And anyways, I don't know. This is coming from a Canadian, so I it is what it is. But, like,
the rest of Canada just doesn't like Toronto, and that's all I've. You're just jealous of this city.
Shut up, Cole. Just shut up.
It's the best city in the world.
Oh my gosh. Anyways, The Fiend was great. Definitely a highlight of SummerSlam.
Oh, but yeah, going back to...
Definitely a highlight of the weekend in general.
As I was saying before, like, it did not disappoint on the build. Because they've been building it since the beginning of the Firefly Funhouse. People thought he was going to debut, like, 2 pay-per-views ago.
Yeah.
And nothing happened. Made some random appearances here and there where he beat up random people. And then showed up here in his first actual match and just out of the ballpark. Like, it wasn't just a home run. It was... They did not miss a beat with this debut.
And the natural progression, right? Like, where it's going to be the Fiend versus the Demon. Like, come on, get real. Like, it's going to be so much fun.
Now, it'll be interesting to see what they do with that.
What do you mean?
Because if you're saying he should... Because I can see 2 storylines going through. He has a feud with the Demon, which I'm all for. But it would also be interesting to see if he just goes through the company and leaves a trail of carnage.
Well, and I think he will do that and eventually run into the Demon.
So you think he'll go through... It's not going to be like next pay-per-view is...
From what I've heard, is Finn Balor not taking time off after this pay-per-view for a while? He's gone on sabbatical?
I am not sure. Is he?
I feel like I've heard that somewhere, that he's taking a few months off just to sort of rest his body, rest his brain, kind of get a sabbatical. Now, I'll have to do some research on that. I might be hearing that incorrectly. But I think, was Finn Balor on TV this week?
I did not watch, so I cannot tell you.
It'd be interesting to see. I'll have to double check on that. But my understanding was that Finn was thinking about taking some time off after the pay-per-view. And so Bray could run through the roster for a little bit, and then all of a sudden he has to run into the Demon, and they could clash over the WWE title.
He has asked for 2 months off, from what I can gather.
There we go. So just in time for I don't know, Survivor Series.
Yeah.
September, October, November, he's back. Boom. Survivor Series, the WWE title being the Demon versus the Fiend. We're going to wherever that city is. going to do some Survivor Series weekend. Yes, please.
That will be just turn off the TV after the entrances.
Oh yeah, no, that was that's a good number one, man. I defy anybody to kind of to sort of, say anything different, and if you do, listeners, if you do have a sort of a different take, something that sort of rose with you a little bit better over the weekend, feel free to reach out to us on our social media platforms, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram, wherever you can find find WrestleMedia. Please interact with us there. So I was inspired by the main event, because I thought that it was a great main event at TakeOver this past Saturday. But I kind of have missed watching wrestling for these lists. I haven't had a lot of time to go back and do that. So I wanted a good old wrestling list, something that I had to do a bunch of research for. So in 3 weeks, I'm going to be coming to you guys with the best TakeOver main events in history. I want a few weeks to be able to do the research on that, so I'm getting it prepped for that. So 3 weeks, we're going to be doing that. Cole, next week, I was inspired by something a little bit different. I just started rereading Mick Foley's first autobiography, Have a Nice Day, and it's one of the best wrestling books I've ever read. So next week I'm going to take a look at the 5 best wrestling books out there, so for your listening pleasure. So Cole, do you have anything else to add about the wrestling weekend that we just sort of endured?
Just in closing, it's good to know that Ty Dillinger is not dead.
I don't even want to talk about that.
I knew it would upset you. That's why I brought it up.
So frustrating.
It is. I agree. I like.
It's so frustrating.
I like it, but I'm also like, this is done.
To me, it's worse than the CM Punk chance. It's worse than the CM Punk chance. It's like Ty Dillinger isn't. He's not even a has-been. He's a never was.
Ooh,
like he just Dude, I don't care about Ty Dillinger. I just don't care. What's his name? Sean Spears? Like, who cares? Who cares? I don't know. I just don't get it. I get he's Canadian and Canadians love him, but just shut up. How are the... Cole, why'd you have to do this?
But not sorry. That was fun. That was fun for me.
Well... When it comes to
my favorite moments from SummerSlam weekend in Toronto, for me and for Andrew, we're breaking the hold.
Thank goodness. You frickin' loser.
This has been a presentation of WrestleMedia, where everything is wrestling and wrestling is everything. Here's what you're missing out on right now over at patreon.com/WrestleMediaCA.
So for those who don't know, when we were heading to TakeOver, the tickets were $10 on StubHub.
I don't want to talk about it. That makes me so mad.
It does a little bit. But you know what? It happened. We had a great time. We'll talk about that in a bit. But, so I was like, do you know what? if Raw and SmackDown are that price, then I'm gonna go. I couldn't not go for that price. But when I looked day of, because I was thinking it would just keep dropping like TakeOver tickets did, but they went back up, and I think on Monday it was up to like $30 a ticket, and I'm like, that's not worth it.
Want more? Sign up now at patreon.com/WrestleMediaCA.